I would like to call to order the November 21st, 2022 Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners regular meeting. Welcome. It's good to see such a big crowd here tonight. If you would please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We would like to welcome Kai Nash, who is our Youth Commissioner representative with us tonight. It's good to have you with us. Okay, first up is the approval or correction of the minutes. Commissioners, you all have a copy of those before you. Do I hear a motion to approve as presented or any corrections?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve as presented. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. And we move to approval of the agenda. You also have a copy of that before you. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda, including the changes on page 44? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That passes unanimously. We move now to recognitions and presentations. First up, from Active Living and Parks, we'll hear from Londa Strong on State Senior Games Medal Winners Recognition. Welcome.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the North Carolina Senior Games State Board, of which I sit, thank you for the support that you all have given to Cabarrus County Active Living and Parks and for the great job that the staff has done. And now I'll turn it over to Ian Sweeney, who is our project event manager, and Megan Baumgardner, the chair of our ALP Commission, who will make the presentations.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. Senior Games is a year-round wellness program that serves all 100 counties through the 53 local games. Participants 50 years old and better are eligible to compete in various sports and arts. Events range from track and field, team sports such as softball, basketball, pickleball, of course, the written word, dance, and cheerleading. We actually have some cheerleaders in attendance here with us today. Participants that medal during local competition are invited to represent their local games in Raleigh at the North Carolina Senior Games State Finals.
Representing Cabarrus County, there were 218 participants that locally completed during the Cabarrus County Senior Games. 69 of those registered to compete in Raleigh at the state finals, and 56 participants placed. So we have invited those individuals here today to recognize them for their dedication to their craft, their competition in spirit, and their outstanding representation of Cabarrus County. So I'm going to ask that the participants please stand as I read their names. And if we could hold applause till the end, we have quite a number to get through. Kathy Berry, Myra Baumgardner, Elizabeth Bennett, Ron Bressett, Dennis Brunel, Carnell Campbell, George Christian, Jack Kraft, Ronald Flanders, Jeff Heggie, Nancy Capp, Linda Kimball, Cheryl Kreitzer, Marvin Martin, Virginia Palmer, Mally Plowman, James Polk, Gwen Zimbrowski, Jennifer Skinner, Londa Strong, Jerry Owen, Denise Hickey, Barb Reynolds, and Colleen Rose. If we can please celebrate these individuals. thank you very much for allowing us to honor them.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for what you do in heading up and helping these folks along. It is always an event that I look forward to, is the opening of senior games every single year. And I think that if there's one phrase that I will carry with me from now on that I heard tonight, and that is 55 or better. I really like that. Yes. Thank you all for representing Cabarrus County so well. Okay, and now we move to item 2 on our recognitions from Cooperative Extension, National Farm City Proclamation, and we're happy to have Tracy LeCompte with us.
We were graced with some heavy hitters there. That's a lot of hardware leaving the room. Wow. It's heavy. Heavy as the head. Nicely done, nicely done. Well, I wanted to thank you for having us here today. As you guys all know, many of us are preparing to eat very well this week, and we are here to thank our farmers. We started our Farm City Week celebration on Wednesday last week, and so at Cooperative Extension, I'd like to invite some of our local representation of our local growers and producers here in Cabarrus County to come forward with me. So come on up. And we're going to read the proclamation together.
Whereas November 16th to the 23rd is National Farm City Week, a time set aside to recognize and honor the contributions of the country's agriculturalists and to strengthen the bond between urban and rural citizens, and
whereas the agricultural industry of North Carolina supports nearly 700,000 jobs.
And whereas more than 8 million acres of land is used for farming, North Carolina leads the nation in sweet potato, egg, and poultry production, and ranks in the top 3 for Christmas trees, pork, trout, and turkeys.
Whereas NC State generates a $1.6 billion annual impact from research and extension with just 4 key crops: blueberry, peanut, sweet potato, and tobacco, while supporting over 13,000 related jobs in 97 of the state's 100 counties.
Whereas Cabarrus County is home to more than 600 farms with over 1,100 producers, hundreds of which are small family-owned farms.
Whereas Cabarrus County farms account for $57 million in our economy annually, with broiler chickens, grains, and beef cattle accounting for the highest production.
Whereas 2022 of the 67th year of the National Farm City Partnership.
Now, therefore, we ask that the Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim November 16th through the 23rd as National Farm City Week in Cabarrus County, and urge the people of this county to celebrate our local agriculture and become more aware of the role we all play in our food system. Enjoy this harvest season and pause to recognize the contributions of our local growers, producers, and ranchers to our economy, our food supply, and our society. Adopted tonight, this 21st day of November.
Great. Thank you very much. We appreciate that presentation of the proclamation. Commissioners, you've heard the proclamation. Do I hear a motion that we adopt as presented?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Well, I'd just like to say that I am happy to vote in favor of this proclamation. I think Cabarrus County has a lot to be proud of, not only with our farms that exist and the producers that are here, but also the programs that you, through the Extension Service, as well as our Soil and Water Conservation District, have promoted over the years to help preserve and open space and agricultural space in Cabarrus County. I don't think that that's something that we see in every county in the state. And so I'm very proud of all the efforts that you and others have made in preserving that heritage here in Cabarrus County.
Excellent.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you to our producers and growers for being here.
Absolutely. Okay, we move now to item 3, and I would like to call on Sheriff Van Shaw for a recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Appreciate you having me. Tonight is my honor to and privilege to honor one of our employees that is retiring after 20 years of service. So I'm going to ask if Sherry Allman will come up. Sherry is here tonight, obviously, and her husband, Chip. Allman is with her as well, and we're excited for her. It's a great time. Sherry started her career on October 21st, 2002, and she started under former Sheriff Brad Riley. She has worked her entire career in our Civil and Records Division. Sherry provides support to our civil officers as well as to officers that also serve restraining orders. She's done an outstanding job. She's been recognized at least twice for her outstanding work in that division. I think tonight she's represented well by her division with all the folks back here to support her. There's a couple of things I want to say is that Sherry is wonderful at developing relationships. She's one of the sweetest people you will ever meet. She always has that smile on her face. She's always willing to help anyone that needs help. She is a great servant to the citizens of this county as well as Cabarrus County Sheriff's Office. I love that I always ask, that the retiring employee tell me a little something they might want me to say. Sherry doesn't want to brag about herself, and she said, "Don't you dare make me speak, Sheriff. Don't you dare." So I won't, but Sherry's always a team player. That's what I love about her. But she did share one thing with me, and that was that she tries to live by a certain saying. And I think it's so appropriate for what we do in serving the citizens. And that saying is, do what's right, not convenient. So I think that really sums Sherry up in a short little phrase, is that she's never taken the easy road. She'll go out of her way to assist and help anyone that needs help. And we're truly going to miss her. But congratulations on a retirement that's well deserved. No, you're welcome.
Sherry, don't get away too fast. So on behalf of the Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners, we thank you very much for your service. We have a small token of appreciation. The one thing you don't need when you retire is probably a clock. But hey, it means you can look at that anytime and think about what else you may want to go do. And I think you're saying is outstanding. And I think that's something we should all strive for. So thank you very much for your service.
If I may, for one moment, Commissioner Kiger, if you would come back over here with me. Tonight, we wanted to take a quick opportunity to say thank you to 2 county commissioners that will not be serving in the future. We have always had a great working relationship. It means a lot, not only to the sheriff's office, but I feel like I speak for all first responders, that the commissioners have always been big supporters of first responders and law enforcement in general. And we just wanted to take a moment and let you know that we truly appreciate your service to the citizens of this county and what you do in making sure that we have the right equipment, the right compensation, all those things that go on behind the scenes that help us to do the job that we do. So this plaque I want to present to each of you says, Commissioner Blake Kiger, given in recognition of your unwavering support of the Cabarrus County Sheriff's Office and the citizens of Cabarrus County during your tenure as a Cabarrus County Commissioner. We offer a heartfelt thank you and best wishes in the future. Given this, the 21st day of November 2002, by Sheriff Van W. Shaw in the Cabarrus County Sheriff's Office. Diane, as well, we want to thank you. And this says, Commissioner Diane Honeycutt, given in recognition of your unwavering support of the Cabarrus County Sheriff's Office and the citizens of Cabarrus County during your tenure as a Cabarrus County Commissioner, we offer a heartfelt thank you and best wishes in the future. Given this 21st day of November 2022 by Sheriff Van W. Shaw and the Cabarrus County Sheriff's Office. So we thank you.
Be careful back there with your knife. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sheriff Shaw. We also had the opportunity to recognize our two outgoing commissioners at a reception prior to this meeting, and we're very proud to present them from plaques from the county then as well. So you are thankfully being well recognized today, and we certainly appreciate your service. Okay, we move now to informal public comments. I have two cards that have been turned in. First one is from Jerry Anderson.
Congratulations, Ms. Honeycutt. If I was going to be a board member, I'd be you.
Well, thank you.
You impressed me.
Thank you.
We was here I came and they started a investigation on my daughter, Mike Downs. I think he led it off, and he got David Goldberg to do the investigation. And when the investigation got done, they said everything's fine. And I guess Mike Downs thought it was fine. He locked the door on me and said it was all over. And then I go and find out that they were screened wrong. You know, if my daughter had been screened right, she would have got the resources from that department that she would have needed. She might be here today. And instead of my daughter my granddaughter being gone, she could be here beside me, 13 years old, saying what a wonderful job y'all did. But y'all blotched it. And if you don't think that's a mistake in your investigation, that's a big mistake. There is something wrong. My daughter didn't get the resources, and she's dead. And they pursued something, and when they ended that investigation that they pursued, they said, your daughter's fine, after they went through 4 or 5 months. And then these two other social service ladies that was on the tail end opened up another. For some reason, DeShonda Christensen and Delisha Vanderpool are two of the monsters that started something and left us out this time. First investigation, they was with the family. Second, it was this all Erica, the helpless child. And this county pursued it. And they come to our house on a Saturday and took her when she was watching Disney. We didn't ever find out what was going on for them to come and take her on a Saturday. I've lived here 15 years. I ain't done no wrong. This was wrong. The whole thing started off by them. It's not in the sealed files. It's right here with me. I went there. I didn't report nothing. I went there to ask for help. My daughter's dead. I don't know how much neglect and abuse. And my little daughter taken out and never seen her family again. What kind of horrendous thing people would do that? I've been victimized, my son's been victimized. Every time I have to come up here and talk, I'm victimized over and over again. Victimized.
Okay, our next speaker is Jeter Anderson.
Jeter Anderson. You may wonder why I have to come to a county board commission meeting to talk about this. It's because our county manager shut the door and locked it. And I guess y'all treated these individuals like money. So he put it back on y'all because y'all probably spent it and dispersed it and dealt with it. So y'all probably had to help them deal with it up here tonight. These individuals were treated like money. I mean, they just disappeared, and no one knows. No one knows why. It's because someone was neglected really bad. It's because they were hurt and abused. All because of a screening error by our government, an intentional screening error. I asked Mr. Goldberg, I said, when did you know this individual was mentally ill? From the beginning. Well, you know, that's intentional. When you treat somebody like that from the beginning and then treat them like that and they die, they get hurt, they die, that's intentional. And I'm going to continue speaking about this and telling everyone about our problem in Cabarrus DSS because I don't want it to happen to nobody else, no other helpless child. And it's going to happen over and over and over, a screening error. You go in there and ask for help for somebody. We don't do the screening, they do the screening. They just should put you in the right department. They put you in the wrong department, and this individual goes through heck, doesn't get the resources. It was gruesome. Do you know after Mr. White got done with her, I had to mop my sister up? Have you ever had to mop anyone up, any veterans up here? Had to mop anybody up? I had to mop my sister up when Mr. White was done with her. It was terrible. I'm telling you, it was wrong. You cannot do this to a mentally individual. You cannot do this. You have to have representation. You have to have somebody up there to have their back. They cannot do it on their own. And for this to keep going on, it's a scandal. It's a scandal to take this child, to keep it and keep the money. And like I said, y'all treated these individuals as money. Nobody cares about Erica Anderson. Nobody cares about Jada Sue Anderson. When Jada was kidnapped by Delisha Van Poole. And another thing, these social workers need cameras on them. They need cameras, they need microphones. And if, I'm not attacking sexuality, but if they're going to be transgender or morphing their male to female, you know, you need to morph their IDs with them. They don't need one ID. We understood her as Delisha Vanderpool. She comes as Dale Vanderpool. And dresses in a burglar suit when they come to take your kid away. But don't take nobody to jail. They can take a kid in North Carolina for abuse, neglect, and because they want to.
Thank you. We move now to our consent agenda. These are items that were discussed at length at our work session 2 weeks ago. Commissioners, you've had an opportunity to study these. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. And we move now to new business. Item 1 is an economic development investment from RRB Beverage Operations Incorporated. We do have a public hearing. Samantha, did you have anything to add before we open the public hearing? Okay. At this time, I will open the public hearing, which has been advertised for RRB Beverage Operations Incorporated, and welcome anyone to the podium that would like to speak on this matter. Okay, hearing no one, we will close the public hearing. And do we have a vote on this one tonight?
Looks like it.
Yeah, I think so. If I can get to the right, there we go. Okay, and of course, this is an increase in the scope of the project. This would be Red Bull, RAL, and Ball, the joint project RRB Beverage, and they are increasing their investment from $553 million to $680 million. So I think that is always good news. And so at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve an economic development agreement, 7 years at 85% between RRB Beverage Operations and Cabarrus County, and to authorize the county manager to execute the agreement on behalf of the board, subject to review or revision by the county attorney. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there discussion?
I just have a question. Sorry. What is the urgency to increase this now before the new board takes office? Is there a reason that this has to be done now, the increase? I mean, I think, I'm just asking, I mean, they haven't broke ground from my understanding since 2021. And I know we discussed this before, but then it occurred to me, I didn't think this would be on the agenda until after the new board took office.
No, I mean, it's been something that we've been in discussion
Right.
with you all for a few months. The project has grown in scope, and once they got those numbers finalized, we brought it to you.
I can add one other thing to that. At least through their attorneys who I've been dealing with on all three parts of this project, they wanted it heard tonight. That's what they told me.
Right.
So that's why it was put on the agenda for tonight. And one other thing that I found out Friday night is that there will still be the same amount of jobs for all parts of this project, but they'll be moved back from 2025, or 2024 and 2025 to 2025 and 2026.
Right.
It's the same amount, same wages, everything, but it'll just be delayed because the project has been a little bit delayed.
Right. Okay, any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, please say no. Okay, that motion passes 4-1 with Commissioner Strang voting no. And we move now to item 2. This is an economic development investment for Red Bull America. This is part of the same project. They are increasing their investment from $140 million to $424 million, which is, once again, substantial. But we did advertise for a public hearing. So at this time, I will open the public hearing and invite anyone to the podium that would like to speak on this matter. Okay, hearing no one, we will close the public hearing. And Commissioners, what would be your pleasure on this item?
I would make a motion to approve an economic development agreement, 7 years, 85% between Red Bull North America Incorporated and Cabarrus County, and to authorize the county manager to execute the agreement on behalf of the board, subject to review or revision by the county attorney.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there discussion? Once again, very good news of a substantially increased investment and growth in our tax base here in Cabarrus County. If there's no further discussion, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes 4-1 with Commissioner Strang voting no. And we move now to item 3 from Infrastructure and Asset Management. Cabarrus County Courthouse Expansion, Construction Manager at Risk Contract Extension. And we welcome Kyle Billiford to the podium.
Thank you. Good evening. Last time that I was up here, Jason Harris and some of the members of the design team. Jason Harris was here in person. He's only here virtually today. We do have Steve Wise from Lyles Construction, who's the partner on GMP3 project or the renovations of the 1975 courthouse. And he's here, but I think I'll be able to answer all of the questions. So we were challenged by the board to go back and cut as much as we could in plumbing, site work, and sunshades on the exterior of the building, which we did, and we're coming back in front of the board with a decision to make on the GMP3. So the decision is we've boiled down all the prices, all the costs, and put them into a package, and that total number is $27,920,602, and that contains $1.5 million of contingency. Okay, and that's going to be important as I go through the conversation. If you all recall, I don't think Commissioner Strang was here for all of those times that we had to bring contingency in front of the board, but when we rolled into GMP2, we did not put a owner's contingency into that GMP. I had to keep on coming up in front of the board and asking for it again. The owner's contingency cannot be spent without the county's approval. So what I'm asking is this time, and GMP3, is to add that $1.5 million of contingency. So quite frankly, that I don't have to come up with the board in such a time crunch to be able to make something happen in the construction field, especially with the market. So if you recall, for GMP2, we had to come up twice to the board for owner's contingency. And I'm trying to put it in this time to not have to do that. And the contingency will be funded from the actual contingency we have outside the contract. We have $3.8 million in contingency funds for the whole project that are not included in any type of contract. They're literally sitting in a county's account. So that is the GMP3, but that is the GMP3 without the chiller redundancy project, which was a project that was brought up to the Board of Commissioners as a way to connect the Sheriff's Department and jail housing with the courthouse, which is what we've seen in larger locations. And specifically and personally, that's a fear of losing a $500,000 chiller in the middle of the night and not being able to get another one for, well, a year ago, 6 months, and today, 2025 for all I know, and having to bring a trailer out, a trailer mounted chiller. So we tasked the construction team, the design team, with finding a way to use our tunnel as a way to connect the two locations so that if something did happen, we would still have to buy a chiller, but we wouldn't have to spend all the money for a trailer mounted chiller sitting in the backyard for 6 months or 8 months or 12 months while we waited for it. And again, that was an expensive tunnel to build, and we use it, but I was trying to get a little bit more use out of it by doing that. So those figures came in at just over $1.8 million. So the decision that I'm putting in front of the board is you're either looking at a GMP3 of $27,920,602 or a GMP3 that includes the chiller redundancy project at $29,776,748. And of the owner's contingency, $1.5 million, we already have that in an account, and the $1.8 million for the chiller redundancy, we also have that money in our contingency account. So I think what this is boiling down to is what is the impact to the actual lobs and our debt, and we've calculated down that number to be just over $1.1 million. And I've got a lot smarter people in terms of finance in the room for me, but we spent the last hour going through that and boiling that down. So that is a $1.1 million.
Okay, that $1.1 million, that's an annual, explain that a little further, the difference in the finance. And
Rodney would love to.
Excellent. I felt like he would.
So the 1.1 million is just an increase in the project cost. And so we have to add that to the 2024 debt issuance to be paid out over 20 years.
So that is 1.1 million after you use the other things that you talked about, the
Correct.
contingencies and
Correct.
so forth. Gotcha.
And it should be noted that the $1.5 million that's going into the contract, if we don't spend that, that obviously that $1.5 million comes back, and then the 1.1 conversation
Right,
didn't really matter, but it still does matter.
right. Commissioners, questions for Rodney and Kyle? Okay, so what we need to do is, in the motion to approve GMP 3 bid award, we need to specify whether it includes
Correct.
the chiller redundancy project
That is correct.
and,
add, approve the capital project ordinance and budget amendment as needed.
okay. Questions, commissioners?
One real quick. You said we had 3.8 in contingency total.
Correct.
But we're only going to use 1.5 for this particular.
You're paying
CM3.
for the entire chiller redundancy with contingency funds.
Okay.
It's correct. We'll be left with about $400,000 in that contingency, and I wasn't willing to touch it until we actually started the project, quite frankly, because I still have furniture to buy, and if you've looked at that market, it's not exactly in line with construction, but not too far behind it. We do have a bit of a blessing with the GMP3, the 1975 Courthouse. An entire floor of that is about 90% reused furniture. So I feel confident, but I didn't want to go too deep, meaning I didn't want to scrape the entire contingency out.
Well, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad to be broke on a project, $130 million project. That
I
be
would agree
bad.
with you.
So I appreciate you being conservative on that.
We've talked about it numerous times, but for the benefit of the public that's watching, do you want to go through the redundancy piece again, just to
Sure.
make sure everybody understands what we're
Yep.
talking about?
There's a tunnel beneath Corbin Avenue that connects the two different structures, the courthouse structure and the sheriff's office and detention center structure, which is actually 3 different buildings. 2 of those buildings are maintained by a chilled water service, meaning that's how you have your air conditioning. And we house inmates in those. So there are very large chillers that are underneath the sheriff's administration department, and they feed both the large housing tower and the sheriff's department. And we also have those types of chillers in the new courthouse. And what we would do is for dumbing it down, you would connect big 8 and 12-inch pipes that would carry very, very cold water underneath the street and go into different pieces of equipment to provide air conditioning, specifically for the inmates, because Murphy's Law is that would be the chiller that we would lose for the inmates. You do have the ability at the courthouse. We could run that courthouse somewhat comfortable for warm-natured folks with 3/4 of our chillers that are over there. We built some extra capacity in those chillers. But for the actual detention center, if one of those goes down, you're dead in the water for housing inmates. And it is a state requirement for a certain temperature to be in those housing units. So by being able to pipe the water, it's not as easy as controlling it on your phone, but it is as easy as literally going down there, turning 3 things off, opening up 3 to 4 valves, turning 4 things back on, and being able to pipe chilled water across the street and be able to get yourself some breathing room while you try to figure out how to get another chiller in here.
This is sort of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that doesn't occur because of the construction of the new courthouse. I think it sounds like a wise thing to do. Were that chiller to go out and we did not have the ability to do that, not only, I mean, I don't know how quickly you can get a chiller trucked in on a trailer to be temporarily hooked up, but we would be responsible for housing all of those inmates within certain temperature requirements immediately, if I'm not mistaken. Is
That's
that
correct. Yes, so
So that-
you'd probably be, I would imagine you'd be moving them out to other entities until we could get that temporary unit in.
So we would be talking about a very expensive proposition, not to mention a logistical and security nightmare as well.
That's correct.
Well, I would certainly be in favor of going ahead with this project at this time, and I will make that in the form of a motion if Rodney will help me with the wording, as he stated a minute ago, to make sure we get the technical pieces of it correct.
I believe what you will want is a motion to approve the GMP3 bid award, including the chilled water redundancy, and authorize the county manager to execute the contract extension between Cabarrus County and Messer Construction, subject to revision by the county attorney, and approve the associated capital project ordinance and budget amendment as needed.
That was the piece I needed, and I do make that in the form of a motion. Is there a second? I'll second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we move now to reports. At this time, we'll receive updates from commission members who serve as liaisons to municipalities or on various other boards and committees.
I would just like to say, prior to our meeting, we had a youth commission meeting today, and they are in the process of discussing doing a joint summit, very similar to what we do quarterly within, with the municipalities. And they're talking about inviting Harrisburg, Concord, possibly Kannapolis, and some other students as well, and possibly do it at the arena. They discussed doing 3 different stations where they could run through. The first one would be maybe a leadership. The next one would be, a different, like college preparation or career related, and then another fun activity to get them all engaged, because their project is getting the teens out in the community and getting them involved.
Very good, thank you.
Talking about youth council with the youth, okay, very nice.
Yeah. Okay, any other reports? Mackay, do you have anything that you would like to say as our guest tonight? Mackay is a representative from A.L. Brown High School in Kannapolis.
I think that Commissioner Strain did a great job explaining that our mission for this year is to get teens more active in the community and knowing the resources that they have in the community. And so we will be working with other youth councils from Concord, Kannapolis, Harrisburg, to be able to get that word out.
Great. Thank you, and thank you for being with us tonight. Any other? If not, we'll move now to general comments by board members.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the citizens of Cabarrus County for giving me the opportunity to serve on this board and participate in self-government. For someone whose all-time favorite class was civics, this has been the thrill of a lifetime. It has been an honor to serve with each of you, and together we have had many accomplishments. We have not done it alone. County Manager Downs and all of the staff and employees do tremendous work every day. I would like to acknowledge that my mother, Beth Kiger, is here. Thank you for coming. And my wife, Nancy, without whose support I would not have been able to do this job. To paraphrase the late, great Vin Scully, I'm not going to dwell on or be sad that this is over. I'm going to be thrilled and delighted and happy that I even got to do it in the first place. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I will yield back to the chair.
Thank you, sir. And your service to this board is greatly appreciated. As I mentioned in comments at the reception earlier for both you and Commissioner Honeycutt, I think honesty and integrity are two of the most valuable traits that anyone can possess, and that is the way that both of you have conducted yourself with this board over the last years. And so your service is greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
Commissioner Honeycutt.
Thank you. Well, it's hard to believe that I'm completing my 8th and final year as a county commissioner, and I'm the person who over the years always said I would never run for political office. My passion was the nonprofit world, and this political environment was just not my cup of tea. But sometimes circumstances change, and I learned very quickly to never say never. So here I am completing my 2nd term as a commissioner, and I will say it was not an easy decision not to run for a 3rd term, but I felt it was the right thing for me and my family, and so I did not run. But I want to thank so many people, and I would love to sit down and thank everybody individually and talk about the ways in which you've supported me and enriched my life over the last 8 years, but that list would be way too long. So I want to start just by thanking all the citizens of Cabarrus County who put their trust in me and elected me to serve this county as a commissioner for 2 terms. Please know what a true honor and blessing it has been to represent each of you in this great county. You know, when you run for political office, the one thing that you know for sure is that everyone will not agree with every decision that you make. But knowing that, I can honestly say that my goal was to look at all sides of each issue, do my research, and make the decision that I felt like was the best for every person in this county, gives me the feeling of satisfaction that I did the job the best that I could. And I can honestly say that has not always been easy. There have been a couple of votes I had to make that were not necessarily my personal preference, but after looking at all the information, I truly believe that they were best for the county as a whole. It's been an honor and a blessing to have this opportunity to make the decisions over these past 8 years that will help shape the future of this great county that we all enjoy living in. I want to also thank my fellow commissioners that I've had the opportunity to work with for 8 years. And I was thinking that Blake was like 7, but now I'm finding out at 6. Blake, it just seems like 7, right? Over those last 8 years, Lynn and Steve and I have served, and then Barbara 2 years now. But to working with these guys for 7 years in this political environment that we live in, you come to respect those that serve with integrity and put the interest of all citizens above their own personal interest. And that's exactly what these commissioners have done for 7 and 8 years. We've always put aside our personal preferences to do what was best for the community as a whole over the 8 years. I feel like we've worked with honor and trust and integrity, and that is something I will always remember with pride and appreciation to each of you for that opportunity. As we see every day, that is not the way that every commissioner in every community works and enjoys. And Steve, it's been extremely refreshing to watch you work as the chairman of our board for the last 8 years. Truly, I can't count the hours. I don't think you would count the hours because I think it might depress you, but he has done this like a full-time job and with a lot of overtime hours over the years. And the positive impact that your leadership has had on this county is something that we should all be grateful for. The difference that you made in the spirit of collaboration and cooperation among the citizens of our community, the elected bodies of our community, is phenomenal. You're well respected by leaders in this community, county staff, and business leaders, not just here in the county, but in the region and statewide as well. I think everyone knows they can come to you and with future issues, current issues, and know that they find someone who will approach those issues with professionalism and look to find a win-win situation for all involved. So thank you for your commitment to serving this community and the impact that you've made on all of us. And last but not least, and there's very little staff here, but hopefully this will get shared with them, we are so blessed with an incredible staff here in this county. I think it's fair to say that the staff of the county serves as the front line of service and very often receives the brunt of the criticism and frustration from certain ordinances, laws, opportunities, taxes, revals, anything that falls under the county services umbrella. And our staff handles that with such professionalism dedication, and commitment to helping the citizens find a resolution to their issues. You are knowledgeable and experienced, passionate, and committed to making sure that everyone's issues are handled, and what a positive difference you've made in this county. So thank you so much for that. Thank you doesn't begin to say sufficiently just how awesome you guys are. I will say that I believe it says it best when we talk about the fact that there's no higher calling in terms of a career than in public service, which is a chance to make a difference in the people's lives and improve the world and, of course, this community. And that is what each of you guys do every day. And to Mike Downs, I've heard this one time, but he's got to hear it again. Mike is celebrating 37 years with this county today. This is the actual day. And I think if you look across the country, that you will probably not find another government management leader who has served in the same county for 37 years. Do y'all know of any, our staff people, 37 years in management in the same county? I mean, that's a lot of, I'm not sure what to call it. But anyway, congratulations for surviving that. And just know how much we appreciate you and the value that you bring to this county and the positive impact that you've made with your professionalism, dedication, and most of all, your integrity. So thank you. And in closing, I will just say I'm humbled and honored to have had the opportunity to serve as a commissioner over these last 8 years. I knew from my nonprofit work over the years that while it enriched the lives of the recipients, it also in many ways enriched my life. But what I did not expect and what I discovered, again, that while public service improves the lives of our citizens, its greatest reward is the enrichment and the new meaning it's brought to my life. That is something I will treasure. And I thank those of you who are here tonight for making these 8 years so special for me. I will end with a quote that is more of a plea for civility, kindness, and respect in this community. That's when America soars, when we look out for one another and we take care of each other and we root for one another's success, when we strive to do better and to be better than the generation before us and try to build something better for the generations to come. That's why we do what we do. That's the whole point of public service. I challenge everyone listening tonight to do just that, to lift your fellow neighbors and citizens up, work to make this community a better place for the generation to come, and focus on the positive instead of the negative, and work to respect others who have a differing opinion. That's what our servicemen and women fought for. We don't all have to agree, but we should respect others' rights to have a differing opinion. So tonight, thank you to the staff again. Thank you for supporting me over these years, and it has truly been an honor and a pleasure to serve this community. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Honeycutt, for those words, and thank you for your service. You will truly be missed on the board. Any other reports, Commissioners? If not, we do have need of a closed session tonight, so at this time, I would entertain a motion to go into closed session as authorized by North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11, 3 and 6 for discussion of pending litigation and personnel matters.
Move forward. I had Lauren to include in our agenda some pictures that I'd like her to put up for the WASAC, the Water and Sewer Authority. Lauren, can you put those up on the screen for the viewing audience so that they can see the progress that we've made out at the Water and Sewer Authority on Rocky River Water and Sewer Plant? Come on down to the pictures, those geographical things. I don't know a lot about that. But you can see what a big hole is. And look how little the people are on the right-hand side. That's an aeration basin, and the rebarb and the concrete that goes in that is beyond belief for you to go see that on the Rocky River waste treatment plant. And we're taking the capacity for wastewater treatment from 26 million gallons a day to 30 million gallons a day, and then on up to 34 million gallons a day, which is going to be able to support industry and new development coming into Cabarrus County, because our capacity right now is being allocated with the municipalities. They each have so much that they can use, and but I don't know that anybody's been turned away yet. But, you know, just want everybody to know that we're working on it, and it won't be too awful long. It'll be up and running, but it's a huge project, But I wanted to show these to you so you know that we're working on that project, and people won't say, oh, we're running out of capacity, we can't build, we can't do this, we can't do that. Well, so far, that hasn't been true, because we are working on it, and it won't be too awful long before it's done. And that's all I had to say about that. And just one final comment before we close up, and that's to Blake and Diane. I'm gonna miss you guys, you know, but it's like they say, life goes on. And so we're gonna do what we're doing, and you'll keep doing what you're doing. And I know that somehow, some way, you'll be involved in something. I don't know what it'll be, but just like on the county commission, we get new stuff every month. So it'll be just like that for you. But thank you so much for your support. Thanks for helping us on this board, that we can move the county forward, because every time we vote for economic development projects, what we're doing is we're building a future for future generations to come. And this courthouse over here is $130 million, a 100-year building. Your children and your children's children and their children, and maybe even their children, will be using that courthouse, and we'll be long gone. And these industries that we bring in, like Eli Lilly, Red Bull, and Ralph, all of these, they're going to bring these jobs in here for your children and children's children. And so that's why I'm so supportive of that. And I'll always support economic development, simply because it makes this community a better place, provides for the future. And that's one of our goals, is to create jobs and to make this a better place. So with that, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or reports? If not, we will revert back to, I would like to entertain a motion to go into closed session as authorized by North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11, 3 and 6.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. We are now in closed session. We want to thank everybody that joined us tonight, both in person and online, and wish everybody a very happy
good holiday,
Thanksgiving.
yeah.